Hello, this is Dale, and Mike's joining me. Welcome to our television station. Hello, Mike.
Hi, can I sit anywhere?
Yes, yes, you can sit anywhere. We are a bit like a television station in that you know that your terrestrial TV, it sounds like dinosaurs or something, our terrestrial TV is now almost all digital, okay? And digital, that's what we're doing right now. This is a digital television program. And the truth is, because with the research that we've done, that we actually have more people that look at our television videos than all of the TV stations in Oregon combined. Not their live stuff that's on digital TV,
Mm.
but their replays on their websites. We have more viewers. We're at now, this morning it was 218,400.
Hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean that that's the number of people we have watching the show, but the
Oh,
audience,
every single night. In
oh
fact, right
no,
now.
the audience that we have is each worth about 100,000. So I'm glad there's two of you
Oh,
because
yes.
yes, right. No,
Yes.
we get more than that now, and we get to big shares. For Josephine County, this is pretty big. I think our top one was 5,300. That's not bad. That's more than the local television stations get. Those are viewers of one of our shows. We got another one for 1,000. There, I think there's 2,000, 3,000. That's not the typical ones. Those are the biggest ones. But we get some pretty big views from time to time, and because it's about local politics, and there are some times where Simon Hare will say or do something really crazy and people in Bulgaria or something are watching it, but mostly it's from a local audience, and so we're doing
Right.
okay.
And the Bulgarians, that must be where that newspaper is from that is on the, or whatever that is on the
Oh, this
screen
thing
behind
behind
you.
me? Right. It probably does look like Russian or Bulgarian or something. Actually, it's Greek. That's Greek to me. And it's from
Uh,
one of their
okay.
large newspapers in Greece. It's called Democracy. That's what that says across the top. And the Cyrillic alphabet, which is shared by the
Mm.
Russians and sometimes the Bulgarians and others. And underneath there is a picture. And the reason this is really unusual, it's a picture of Angela Merkel, who is the president of Germany. And she's wearing,
Hmm.
they've doctored it up, she is wearing a swastika, and she's dressed in a Nazi
Yes.
uniform.
You know what? Unfortunately, I mean this is a one of these um, sticky little wickets there because they put themselves in the position that they're in right now by having so many entitlement programs. I mean, they that now they're broke and nobody wants to give them more money, and now that Angela Merkel doesn't want to give them any more money, now she's Hitler.
That's
It's
exactly
like,
what this is saying. Yes.
yeah, that's just ludicrous. They shun. They go, oh, austerity, it's horrible. We're all, and listen, there isn't any question what follows government largesse. Uh, at some point, the whole thing crashes down, and you have to live at a poverty level so you can slowly pay your debt back and creep back out of the gutter. But who put you there? Government put you there. And that's the problem with that whole thing. And now, since this lady doesn't want to give them any more money, or wants them to live under austere conditions, then all of a sudden she's the Adolf Hitler. Come on, people.
And
You
it
know what?
doesn't only happen to government largesse, it happens to the smallest government in
Mhm.
Europe as well. And in this particular case, not only they had quoted her, there was going to be this memorandum where the Greeks were going to agree to try to be more fiscally responsible, and they
Mhm.
write here memorandum mock fry, which goes back to the idea of the motto that was over the death camps. Work will make you free, in German, Arbeit macht frei. And this is Memorandum macht frei. And then the big lettering down here, that's the Greek word for Dachau.
Oh, yes. Wow.
So they're making, not only showing Angela Merkel with a Nazi armband, but they're making a direct reference in both places, both to Memorandum macht frei and also to Dachau, with a big exclamation point at the end to say it's just like being in a prison camp.
Yes, and I'm sure it is a lot like being in a prison camp, but maybe they should have thought of that when they were getting all these massive pensions and, 10 weeks vacation a year and,
PERS.
PERS. No, I'm about to make that analogy.
Oh, really?
This is, yes, I was. But no, they had crazy stuff. Nobody, worked past like 50 there. They all retired on government pensions and stuff. Totally obscene. And they went, oh, okay, I'm just going to do this. Well, you know what? Maybe you ought to think about whether or not the promises that are made to you can actually be delivered upon, and what are you doing to the rest of society when you decide to take such a thing? And I understand somebody goes, here's this great big deal. Half the people on my street, by the way, are on mega large California government pensions. So they do pretty well. They do better than I do. I know that. But in any event, PERS, yeah, love it.
A little inside baseball here. Mike and I, after the show, one of the things that we've agreed is, guys, the talks that we have after the show are over are really pretty interesting. I said, if only there was some way that we could capture the energy created by this show and used afterwards. It's renewable, maybe there's a way that we could share it.
Maybe we could get a government grant.
Yes, that's what it is, because Mike is such a little ray of sunshine. It's just like having a solar power collector in your living room.
Yes.
But after the show, we'll talk a little bit about what's going to happen tomorrow. And we were talking about this yesterday. Well, what are we going to talk about? And I said, well, all I need you to do is just ask me a question about this newspaper, and then when I say something, you'll know what to say. And by golly, he sure does. All you have to do is just toss him something to start with, and Mike's all over it, buddy. He's definitely got an opinion about Angela Merkel, about Germany, about Greece, about PERS. I mean, just hand it to him, and off he goes.
What a sad situation, and it really should be held up as an example to all socialist democracies around the world who aspire to such things as the life that they led before the whole thing crashed down.
Well, these people are giving them money. And the people giving them the money said, "Would you please be careful with it? That's terrible. You're treating me like I'm in a prison camp." Yes. And what's this about it being a sad situation? Don't forget what kind of show this is supposed to be, Mike. You see what I'm doing with my finger?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm no longer even going to acknowledge that.
See, why do I do this to him? Because it doesn't mean anything. It just is an indication to our mini viewer that he should laugh at this show.
Our mini
viewer. See, you got to listen fast in this show. It's
little dwarf guy,
fast and furious. Well, they're not furious, but Mike's the one that's furious.
And now he's trying to talk over
me
so I don't make dwarf jokes.
I'm fast. He's furious. So this thing that reminds me, I like to go to Carl's Jr. What? What does this have to do with Angela Merkel? Nothing. Okay. All right. Okay. Frankfurter hamburger.
Actually, it does. It's a direct correlation.
Frankfurter hamburger. It's all the same.
It's been cut in half.
Okay. So I go to Carl's Jr. because the burgers there are really huge. They're
Yeah, they're
terrific,
big.
and you can ask for them to be
Yeah,
made in
I
some,
love them.
and they're not fried like they do at McDonald's or whatever. Please, okay.
And
So
sexy, scantily clad women eat them.
don't tell everybody.
So I want to be just like them.
No, don't tell everybody.
They know that.
Okay, all right. So I go down there and I order the kind of burger that I want. Do it this, do a couple of things, because they allow you to do that. And if there's not a whole bunch of people behind me, I don't feel bad about it. So I'm pulling through there one day, and at the very end, I say to the person, "Oh, by the way, I'd like it cut in half, because these are big burgers and they're juicy. They're big and juicy." We're talking about the burgers now, Mike. Stop leering.
Yeah.
Stop chortling.
Right.
Okay, so I ask him to cut it in half. And so I say to the young girl that's there, that's making minimum wage now, but soon that's going to be a lot higher. And I say, I don't want them cut in half like this. These are burgers. I'd like them cut in half like this. So she takes me very seriously. And so she goes back and she talks to the cook. And she says, now this guy, he doesn't want it cut in half like this. He wants the burger cut in half like this. And the guy looks at her like, you know he's pulling your leg, right?
Yeah.
So I don't understand, right? So they're all laughing at this, and then she's, oh, I get it now. She's, all these people coming through, and some guys, is trying to be rude to her or whatever. So we had a good joke about it. So now every time I see them, they don't do this. They do this, or they do this, right? I see them on the street, and their people are going like this to me.
Right, and they're both doing it wrong because it's like this, not like this.
That's right.
Or like
that's
this.
Right. That's right. Yes. Yeah, she actually went back and said to the guy, well, this is the way he wants it, not like this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
make sure you cut it in half the other way.
Golly,
that round thing.
Sometimes I think it is people that are not sharp as pencil in the box.
No, don't go there.
Sometimes that's true, and sometimes it's just, well, they're doing their thing, and they're in kind of a fugue state where they're getting stuff out to people. Main reason I have them do something special is so I don't get one of the burgers that's been sitting there for 12 minutes. Right? They have to cook it fresh because I've asked for it in a special way.
Yeah.
And then you go like this.
Pretty tricky.
Tricky. That's it. Yeah. That's what it is. It's trickiness. So anyway, so that's why we have these little inside jokes from this show, and one of them is this. This means
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I grew up at a situation comedy life. I told you before, where every problem was solved in half an hour, and usually solved with a laugh track. And so that's my entire life has been a situation comedy.
Yeah, and the problem is, it takes months sometimes to get that kind of action out of local government. So odd that you chose to be this sort of a watchdog.
Well, we have to be able to laugh about things. It's really essential to be able to laugh, because one of the things that you may have noticed about the pro-levy folks, they're pro-government, of course, also, is that they don't laugh. They don't like making fun of each other, and they don't make fun of us. They get angry at us. No, I've seen this. Have you ever? And think about it for a second. Have you ever met someone that was pro-levy that could maybe joke a little bit, or maybe not take themselves quite so seriously? Really? Now, Mike, I told you that maybe we're going to do it in one order, but can you switch the order? Can you play the one where Simon Hare is astounded that the commissioners, that someone's suggesting that there might be something that's not completely on the up and up? Can you play that one first?
Sure thing.
Okay, now I've listened to what you guys have to say, all you hundreds of thousands of people out in the audience.
Right.
And that Dale, you're a little funnier on this show. No, I'm not, and Mike will confirm that. Than you are at the podium. I have 3 minutes. It's just 3 minutes. And it's usually fairly serious things, but I do try to joke around. Here's what happened when I tried to joke with Simon Hare at Wednesday's meeting.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. Some people have said, Dale, can't you be just a little funnier up there like you are on your nightly show? And I'm going to try to do that. Remember when the commissioners told us that as many as 214 full-time family wage jobs would be created if we help build wheelchair ramps out in the IV? I think that's pretty funny. Remember when we were told that we have a failing intersection out in Merlin? You know, I had asked the ODOT people, I said, who's calling this a failing intersection? Why are you calling? I said, no, we're not calling it a failing intersection. Really? ODOT's not calling? No, that's a commissioner and some builder in Grants Pass. Really? Now, why would they do that? Because we could see, we were told that as you come up to that exit, why people are backing up onto the highway. No, they're not, and anyone with common sense knows that that's absolutely false. People are not backing up onto the highway. But Sandy Casanelli came up with a low-cost alternative. She said, let's just put a stop sign in the feeder road. Problem that didn't exist, completely solved. Nobody's backing up onto the highway. So now why is it a failing intersection? A failed intersection, we told before. Now, there's plenty of those in Grants Pass, but not there. So we don't need to spend those $1 million. We're going to spend it anyway. See, it's coming out of my other pocket. One of them comes out of the pocket for county and city, and the other comes out for state. You're spending my money. You're spending my state money on something that's just false. So there's another one. This is a great one. This is the funny one. So the court says, we need a single point of entry into the courthouse. Why? We're being inundated with crime. Yeah, it's courts. Criminals sometimes come to court. And we need you to restrict the access to our floor. Great. You just put a guard at the elevator, and you say to people, if you want to go to the court, you have to go up in the elevator. No, that's not enough for our commissioners. They want to close off their entire floor, too, because they're important officials, and people might be coming in there to cause them trouble. Really? No. There's a low-cost alternative which will cost us state taxpayers $0. You just restrict access to the court floor. That's all. Problem solved. Now, Commissioner Walker came up with the idea of a kind of a serpentine track that could go across the lawn in front of the courthouse, and you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and eventually, you know, it would be a nice grade for wheelchairs, and well, that's still doable. She said, nobody's going to do that. But instead, they're talking about revamping the entire building to close off the floor to the county commissioners. This is silly and funny.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Frankly, neither, Mr. Matthews.
Yeah, it's neither.
What is your motivation other than to just dispel some sort of conspiracy here that doesn't exist?
Dispel?
61 in a builder? I'm sorry, I just have a real tough time with putting the dots together in any logical fashion.
The O dots together?
Yes.
It's an intersection that isn't facilitating the needs of the growth in that area. Do I agree with it? No. I
Why
probably
are you
don't.
doing it then?
The number of situations that I've been able to witness that, and the anecdotal information by people who live
Antidotal.
there doesn't add up.
Yes.
It's a problem.
Would that be
to this
the,
degree.
the
Do I have a choice
medicine
in that?
you take
Am
to
I going to
fix it?
restrict growth and development in that area? Just walk away from it as a potential problem I could solve? Because I don't agree with the experts from ODOT who say that it's failing.
Yes.
Well, yes, that's what you do. You walk away from it, and you stop spending our state money out of our other pocket. Yes, stop.
Just take the antidote. Everything will be just
Oh,
fine.
it's antidotal evidence. That's not the point.
Oh, listen, and that's funny because I've heard him use that on a number of occasions, and none of his friends feel like it's important enough to correct him.
Maybe they don't know.
Yeah, maybe they don't know.
But we're not going to correct him. It's too alert.
And Cheryl wouldn't correct him. Cheryl's probably keeping a dossier on this stuff.
Yeah. What did she say? They were saying that we were, what was that word? Scurrilous. The things you're saying, Mr. Matthews, are so scurrilous. Scurrilous means potty mouth. I don't have a potty mouth. I wasn't screaming, as Dennis Weber says that I do up there. But she said, these scurrious things that you say. That's okay. Scurrilous. What's the difference? Yes. Scurrious is little rats, I guess.
Yes, I guess.
No, but the point is, he agrees with us that this is a stupid project that's based on a lie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't really get, because somehow he seems to have the impression that ODOT does not actually agree with you on that, and that somehow they are dragging him kicking and screaming into this thing.
Now, I wonder which commissioner they were talking about. Because when they talked to me about this, the only person that was there that's still on the board now was Simon Hare.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could it possibly be that he's throwing up any kind of thing into the wind to try to blow back in our face to make it look as if this guy is astounded? He's astounded by these suggestions of impropriety.
Yeah, he does have that look on his face, like, I cannot believe this. This is astounding to me.
He does look a bit astounded in this photograph. That's true. And a little inside baseball.
Which is amazing for a guy who has eyes in the top of his head.
He likes to wear his sunglasses. Well, I wear these things which make me look like Mickey Mouse, and he wears his sunglasses on top of his head because he's still the youngest commissioner of all time.
Yes, and the funny thing is that the other video has him doing the same thing too. So
he likes to wear his sunglasses on top of his head. In the end, Basker, where you never know when you're going to need sunglasses.
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess then you don't lose them. That makes sense.
Off the top of your head.
Right.
Okay, yeah, right. So, yeah, quite right. Here's the point. There is a point. There's a point? Wow. Yeah. Hey, Marge, get over here. There's a point. The point is that none of this was true. What's this? Oh, traffic is backing up on a daily basis onto the highway. No, it's not. And then Sandy Casanelli said, being a reasonable person, some of the time, Sandy, she says, well, listen, why don't you put up a stop sign on the road that feeds into it, the feeder road? Just put a stop sign up there. Problem that didn't exist before now is completely solved, right?
Yeah.
Right now, there's no traffic at all. But the point is that that we don't need to spend $1 million out there to put in a 16-leaf clover leaf kind of thing at Merlin. At Merlin, it's not necessary. And yes, it's true that money could have been spent elsewhere. Well, maybe there's elsewhere that it needs. Hey, how about building lots more of those really, really valuable wheelchair ramps, Serpentine or other, out in IV? I mean, every time you build a wheelchair ramp, it's going to yield 200+ jobs.
Right.
We should be doing nothing. We should be the wheelchair ramp capital of the world, and then we'll all be employed.
Mm-hmm.
These projects don't make any sense. This is the way they manage your money. We have another example here for you of how Greece manages the money and how Josephine County manages the money. Remember when we were telling you before, you're not going to see this anyplace else or hear about it anyplace else. You can see for yourselves what they're actually saying. Simon Hare was agreeing with us. We don't need to build that thing. Now, remember when we were telling you that the commissioners did not want to talk, you've seen the video, you did not want to talk about giving raises and hiring new people in public anymore. Let's not talk about it in public. Right. Now, here's an example from Thursday's meeting. This is just a couple of days ago. An example from Thursday's meeting. This is why it might be interesting for you to come to Wednesday's weekly business session, because they're going to pass this thing there. They've already decided this is the ceremonial thing where they pretend like they're making the decision in front of you. They've already made it. And this is a new fellow that's coming in from adult corrections, and he's going to explain to the county commissioners why it's absolutely essential to hire a new person. What we want you to do is we want you to see this so that you see for yourself the logic or lack thereof behind this whole thing. Go ahead and play that footage, if you will, please, Mike.
We're wanting to get this position added so we can expand that population for treatment services and then assign this particular duty to counselor. Our current infrastructure right now can't handle an additional ADIS, but we're wanting to expand that. So
They want to do it anyway, of course.
That's good. I have no problem with it. My only concern is that if your revenues aren't met through convictions of DUIs because of the lack of controls in our county on how the reason we get them all, the goal should be that people don't drive under the influence. Not that we try to convict
Right.
He's our local expert.
Yes.
Pay.
so, absolutely.
The balance could come out of your department's funds, and so. But there's no shortage of responsibilities that people could do.
Right.
Versus them just kind of sitting around with their review like.
What? Speak up, Simon.
Yeah.
God, he's a
We
low
were
talker.
approached by the courts, and we see that there is a need in the community to do this. Our department is, we're committed to the safety of the community, and currently right now there's some DUI convictions and diversions that aren't necessarily being monitored. And they need
Now listen to this.
and we recognize that. Sure. So we're willing to operate in the red for a while, and even if we don't get, the break-even point of 400 and some DUI offenders, we're still willing to do this service to the community. So we will fund it.
So good.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Sounds good.
Now, what was that again? Here's the deal. If they don't get 430 DUI arrests,
They're in the red.
they'll end up in the red. Oh, but we're willing to operate in the red for a while. Well, yeah, of course you are.
Yeah, we're willing to operate in the red for a while,
Oh, and if we
Yes.
don't hit break-even point, and Simon Harrison, well, okay, and Sarah
Yeah,
Walker,
don't worry, because, it's not our money, so, we're willing to do it.
What this means is we've got a certain amount of, to the best of our knowledge, okay, we're trying to understand what they're saying there. And to get them to explain it to you, you've heard what happened. Simon Hare just explained why he was upset that I was saying stuff about Paradise Ranch. No, what do they call that now? Parasites Ranch? No, about the Merlin area with the huge $1 million project out there for something we don't need. So you heard his explanation where he's actually agreeing with me, but he's getting on my case about it, okay? Because it's me. Right? Because we're questioning our government. I just don't understand. I can't connect the dots. You can't connect the dots? Okay, all right, don't get me started, Mike. So what they're saying here is if they don't get 430 and the county has a record of getting like 12, 17, 21, 3, if they don't get 430, then they've got to pony up, then the county has to pony up the money. What?
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
And this is a substantial amount of money we're talking about, isn't it?
Oh, that it is. And the salary for this person to do this is almost $40,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
To get this person to do this. And keep in mind that this person's doing the paperwork and stuff, but not going out and doing the arrests. Who needs to do the arrest? Why? That would be the sheriff.
Right.
The sheriff is now going to put 10, 100 times more effort into, because if it's 430 and the record and what it was before was 4,
they're going to have to do nothing but DUIs, and the 3 deputies that they have are going to have to spend all their time on 199 looking for people who may be inadvertently leaving their lane.
They could sit out in front of the Wonderbur and wait for Simon. He's going to come out one of these days.
Yes, but he's only one of 430. And as Bill Hunker mentioned last Friday night on this show, I don't think we've ever hit that number in the last 10 years.
But don't worry about it, Mike, because the magical budget says it's like shaking that magic 8 ball.
Well, yes,
why? Yes, it's all going to be fine.
Right, yeah, but why are we going after this great guns?
Good question.
When we are starved for other functions that the sheriff can fill, and now we're putting a mandate on them to get 430 drunk drivers.
Now here's the best part of all. Here we go. Here's the best part of all. He really looked pretty upset, didn't he? Mike looked really upset. Okay, so this ties in with what's happening with the DA. We're going to tell you this to the best of our ability. Here's what I understand based on what commissioners have said in the past and what we've been able to gather. Most of the money for the DA, for our DA, comes from the state, but the county puts in about 20%. Really? Why would that be the case? Good question, because in most other counties, they get all their money for their DA from the state, because the DA works for the state.
Right.
So why do we put in 20%? Now, I'm going to let you figure that out, but here's a hint. The DA said recently that the reason he couldn't follow through on Simon Hare drunk driving idea was that the commissioners pay part of his salary. Now, so if you wonder, it's only speculation, it's only speculation. Hey, go ask this guy, and he'll tell you there's no reason to speculate. I don't know why there would be. I can't connect the dots. I can't connect the dots. Okay, but here's the question. If we could hand it all over to the state, and other counties too, why don't we hand over all of the guys, the DA's salary, to the state? If we can do that, and we're in such dire circumstances, why are we paying 2%, much less 20% of his salary?
Right.
Why?
They could take that 20% and give it to the sheriff's department. But you know what? Listen, I have a theory that they keep things in pretty dire circumstances over in the sheriff's department on purpose, because you need to have this vision. Now, listen,
Crisis management?
There isn't any question that they're not getting enough. No one's saying that. So, stop warming up your Twitter fingers. But they are shorting those departments, for the purpose of making things seem worse than they are there, because this image, this what's the word we're looking for here? Perception that things are really bad off over at the sheriff's department is part of what helps when you're trying to get a levy passed.
Well, here's how this ties in with the DA. So the DA gets, to the best of our knowledge, 80% of his funding from the state when he could get 100, and he gets 20 from us. And I told you my theory. I suggested my theory about why it's important for Simon Hare and company to have a DA that's dependent on them for money. Okay, it's one of the theories. If you have a better theory, let's hear it.
In fact, bring it on
call
down.
Mike. Call Mike and
call me.
Call me any time of the day or night and tell him what your theory is about that. But
you know what? One of these times here, if we're going to ask the audience questions, we're going to have to get the little info link button on the website so people can press and send an email.
You guys as that guy that was running for commissioner said, it's more like a semi-public meeting. What's a semi-public meeting? That's where people are invited to come to the meeting, but they don't show up.
You can't say nothing.
That's right. Yes. Or you're invited to come to a meeting of the county commissioners, and then they throw you out at police bayonet point. No, they didn't use a bayonet. Well, the guy did twist my arm, and he was armed. Okay, all right. I was almost disarmed. This kind of disarmed. Okay, so here's the still.
Thanks for explaining that.
Here's the still.
Yeah, I saw the still.
Okay. What's that Dale Matthews? The guy's crazy. Yes, true, but I'm not showing you that here. Anyway, so the state handles this function, this DUI, following through on the DU and giving them counseling. Oh, they all need counseling. And the state handles that. The state does it now. And so, but our county's been talking to them about letting us handle it. Letting us handle it? Why would we want to do that? Well, do you understand, everybody, the income potential? If we just pass way past anywhere we've ever been close to, if we just gamble, that we're going to go past 430, which we've never done, which we don't even do when we add up a decade, if we gamble that we can do that every year, why 431 is going to make us $150.
Yay!
No, why would you gamble No, just 1 second, one more second. Almost done with my rant.
No!
Why would you gamble on something like gold mining or green gold? Mike knows what that means. Or some of these other projects that are cash projects, where the gold and the green gold grows up out of the ground. Why would you do that when if you get 431 DUI things and take that business away from the state, why, my gosh, you'll end up with $150. And we've only spent $40,000 to get the 150. Really, what an opportunity for government to grow. I'm not making this up. You can't make this. Yes. It's too crazy.
Well, now let me ask you something, because it's not really clear.
Good luck. Well, I might be able to explain. We'll see.
Well, maybe if you just be quiet for a second and let me ask my question.
I'll try. Okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching tonight's show.
This guy who's sitting there, he's obviously pitching this to a county operation, so this does have to do with the sheriff. It's not a shared thing with the police and the sheriff. I mean, you see why I might think that, because I would imagine that the police probably do more DUI arrests than the sheriffs do.
Grants Pass Police do a lot more than the sheriff does, but this guy will be working for the county. He's our new county adult corrections officer.
So this would be a sheriff's operation only.
As far as I know, yes, because the city already does their thing.
Right, yes.
They didn't explain that, but I mean, that's what he was saying. If we can go out and we can get this done, it means a completely different. We've just gotten to the point. This just occurred to me. Wow. We just got to the point where marijuana arrests for having a joint. I don't use them. I don't even know what a joint is. Yeah, I don't know. That those arrests are going to drop off to zero because it's now legal. Now that that's legal, well, what are we going to do? Well, let's aim the drug war message at people who are drunk driving. I don't like drunk drivers, but they need to start in the commissioner's office. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to have to take all of that effort that was spent on arresting people for having something in their pocket, and now they still won't be able to look at other crimes, stealing things, scams, beating your wife. They won't be able to. They'll have to look.
Concentrating on.
There's no money in it.
On DUI. Yeah, on DUIs. Well, you know what? This is a really good point, and to be honest, I don't know how much of their efforts are going towards busting people for marijuana.
Used to be a lot.
Yeah, but I would think that somehow that savings should go into. Should help bolster public safety, one would think.
That would be nice, yeah. But now, see, instead of putting all that effort into grabbing those guys up because of a moral imperative, I understand that. I'm not sure that that's where all of our attention should be. So instead of doing that, now that that's legal, now they're going to shift it over to something else. And you still won't get the kind of patrols and stuff that you want out there because you've got to go out and arrest more than one person every day.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that should be easy, right? Except we haven't been doing that. And so we're going to have to take patrolmen off the road. They may actually have to take a patrolman out of the weekly business session. And, the commissioners will be completely defenseless against an angry population that yells and screams at them. You saw what I was doing. It's scandalogical.
Yes, right. And not only that, listen, in order to get to this level here at some point when they discover that they're not getting this number of DUIs on a regular basis, they're going to have to start doing stuff like sobriety checkpoints and things of that nature.
Don't you know it, smart guy. Yeah. Absolutely. And look, it's not just, let's make 150. Oh, we didn't make the 150 today. No. Oh, you're missing the point. The penalty is a lot worse than the reward, because if you don't make 431, you're not going to get your $150. But if you don't do it, then it comes out of that department's budget, which comes out of our pocket. So what that means is that the penalty is if you don't make it, then you've got all this money that you're spending for nothing.
Yes, right. So after you get 450, then you
430 after
okay.
430.
I'm sorry. I stand corrected. 430. Once you get 430 DUI arrests, then you start getting $150 a piece for them. Is this?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that $150 a piece. But wait, you got to hear this.
Hey, this is my thing here.
We must hear this. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Well, I'm just wondering how many times you got to get paid the $150 before you get 40,000. It's an easy math problem. But for crying out loud, this thing's a loser all the way around.
No, I'm sorry. What I'm saying is you get your 38,000, actually, 38,000 and change. You get your 38,000 every time you add on 150. So you need to get a bunch of them. It's going to be like 430 of them before you pays for it, before you paid that off. And 431 means you actually make $150. But here's the thing. Okay. Where does that $150 come from? Is it coming from the state? Oh, no. We have to collect that from the deadbeats that are drunk drivers, which means what kind of follow-up do we need to do?
Yes, this is just.
Can you imagine following through on 430 people that may not have the money in the first place, and then we've got to follow them around and make sure that they do what they need to do? And what happens if they never pay? What if they say, "I'm never going to pay you"? Then we put them in jail. Oh, that's a good use of our community
but you know
resources.
what? I got to tell you, and listen, I don't want to come off as though somehow I'm advocating for drunk drivers.
No,
because I'm not. But let me tell you, this is big money we're talking about. It typically costs somebody somewhere in the area of 10 grand if you get a DUI, and some of that is if you're stupid enough to go hire an attorney. Let me tell you something. Once you blow over .08, it's done. You're guilty. It's over. Don't throw good money after bad. I knew a guy who 2 times got a DUI and went and hired an attorney both times and ended up like 50 grand in debt. And listen, I'm not making excuses for that. Let me just make that very clear in case you didn't get that the first time I said it. I don't advocate anybody being on the road drunk, but once you've done that, don't be stupider and go add attorney fees to the mix because you ain't getting off.
Oh, I can see the headline now. Finally, the Courier will write an article about what we're doing. Mike Jones says, "Don't be stupider."
Yes.
Okay, but look, the other bottom, none of this if you just think about it for more than a few seconds, like we're doing right now, really just thinking off the top of our head here, get this off the top of my head. One of the things about, I messed up my carefully. Oh, I'm missing hair. It's coming off with the headphones. Look, so what do you think would be the result if they cracked down and found, I don't know, somebody that we pretty sure, in fact, according to the official police report, blah, blah, okay. And don't you think he'd learn some kind of lesson? Maybe not. But if we increase the number of arrests that we were doing on the county level by 10 times, that may start to slack off. It could. There's a couple of speed zones in Grants Pass where it says drive 20 miles an hour. Well, nobody drives 20. All it takes is for them to concentrate on that for about a week, and everybody gets to notice. Now everybody's creeping along. There's never anybody there. But we're all driving at 20 miles an hour because it's a shopping zone. We know why so you'll slow down and buy something. Oh, look in that window. Let's pull over and buy some pie. We know why it's that. Okay, but one more point. So let's suppose that after 1 year of concentrated effort that people start shaping up. Well, now how the heck are we going to get our 430 we need every year?
Yes, of course. It's a stupid idea. It's a stupid idea. And listen, of all people, Simon should know that this is a stupid idea because he might even get caught in their dragnet at some point. And,
why would we take this over from the state? The state's already doing it.
You know what I propose?
And we want to take it over?
I propose that instead of $150, we should put a bounty on Simon, catching Simon in a DUI, and make that $1,000. I'm sure we could get enough people to pitch in some money and put $1,000 bounty on catching Simon Hare drunk.
Let's see what Simon's reaction is.
Drunk driving.
Here's Simon's reaction to that suggestion.
Yes, he's shocked. I can see that.
He's frozen in fear.
Yes.
Simon, what do you think?
Yeah.
See? Nothing to say. Okay, look, that's not fair. I know it's not fair. No, it's not a comedy show. Mike says it's not. Okay, all right, I get that point. But
I never said that, by the way.
Oh, you never said it was. Oh,
no,
okay. So
I never said that.
I'm a liar. I'm misquoting.
Yes.
I'm misquoting my own partner.
He's a liar.
Terrible.
He's a liar.
What are they thinking? The state's doing it already, and we want to take it on. Why do you think the state wants to get out of it? Gee, I wonder why. This doesn't make any sense, everybody.